Welcome to Chicago, where the fire serve cold, but the Wolves and the Hawks never shiver in the snow. The Bulls keep it running, the Sox run the South, the Cubs run the North, but the Bears run the house. True Chicago sports fans got their ears to the street. Any team make a move and they never skip a beat. And in this house, this is where we be. Welcome to the show with
Welcome to Chicago. Coming from the True Chicago Sports Fans Cave, this is the TCSF podcast with your hosts, E-Roc and Big-Z.
Yeah.
Episode 36 is brought to you by 606 Media, Noir Season, and Grit Clothing Company. Don't forget to check out gritclothingco.com and use our promo code TrueFan15 for 15% off your entire order. As always, I'm Big-Z, and I'm here with my co-host, E-Roc. What up, E?
What's good, Z? What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome in. If you're a first-timer or a long-timer, please remember to hit that subscribe button, that notify button, and go ahead and give us a review and 5 stars on your listening app of choice. Don't forget, you can support the show at anchor.fm/True Chicago Sports Fans/support. We have another great show in store for you. The Bears making a ton of moves, salary cap moves. QB speculation is on high alert. The Bulls are back in action after the break, plus Hawks, Cubs, and White Sox talk. But before we get to all that, Z, tell us about today's guest.
This week, we are bringing back one of our favorite guests and one of Chicago's very own.
That's right.
Jose Shorty Torres. Shorty Torres will be fighting Sean Santella next week in their rematch at Brave CF49. This is a rematch 6 months in the making and will be headlining a stacked Brave CF49 card.
That's right.
Super card fight scheduled for March 25th, which is a week after this episode drops.
That's correct.
Yeah. It's in Combat Kingdom, so that's, way overseas on the other side, about 10, 11 hours ahead of us.
That sounds dangerous.
It is. Shorty Torres will once again take on Sean Shorty Rock, and they share that Shorty thing there.
A little bit,
It's
yeah.
a battle of the Shorties, This is going to be a rematch as part of the prestigious Brave CF Flyweight Title Tournament.
Wow.
On the line, a spot in the semifinals for the biggest ever tournament in the weight class.
I mean, I would like to see. It's going to be hard to not want to go back and compare the fights, but I'm really looking forward to see what he's going to do this next time up.
Right. I mean, just like, when we watch an NBA series, there's adjustments from game to game.
Absolutely.
So, it's going to be fun to watch. All right. The first encounter between the two men who share, again, like the nickname Shorty, was an instant classic, ending up in a draw. I thought Shorty won, but, I'm just a little biased.
Yeah, but which Shorty?
See? And so they're forcing an extra bout, which is great. More fights for us.
That's right.
At the Flyweight Tournament. This is going to be a can't-miss interview and a can't-miss fight.
It should be very good. Speaking of fighting, we did want to acknowledge the passing of a boxing legend, Marvelous Marvin Hagler. He did pass away this week. He was a 1993 inductee to the International Boxing Hall of Fame. He made 12 defenses of the undisputed middleweight title he held from 1980 to 1987.
That's dominance.
I mean, it's that he was one of the kings of the 80s.
Yeah.
He was 62-3-2, 52 knockouts.
Jeez.
Hagler was a southpaw who switched stances with ease, stopped Tommy Hearns in the third round of their 85 middleweight title bout, known simply as The War.
Yeah.
The fight was instantly hailed as one of the most exciting and violent and dramatic title fights boxing has ever produced.
If you've never seen this fight, go to YouTube. After you finish listening to the episode, go to YouTube and watch this amazing fight.
Absolutely.
All right, he will definitely be missed. Rest in peace. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's start this thing off right. This is The Loop, the Chicago Sports Roundup, where we keep you in the loop.
This is Chicago. Doors open on the left at Chicago.
Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Chicago.
This is Chicago. Doors open on the left at Chicago.
Welcome to Chicago.
So, E, any Bears news?
Yes, of course there is, because all we hear about is the Bears. And I ain't mad about it. The beloved Chicago Bears placed a franchise tag on receiver Allen Robinson. Based on the $182.5 million salary cap, his tag is going to be worth $18 million for the 2021 season. But
Ouch.
A-Rob has zero plans to sign the tag in the immediate future. So it really remains to be seen what happens with A-Rob. As I said before, I think it really depends on what happens with that quarterback position.
If the Bears can somehow get a great or even a good quarterback, then A-Rob would be more inclined to sign the Bears sheet. I mean, let's just be honest here. I mean, he's like, I played for Trubisky.
He's never played with a good quarterback.
Right.
He played with Foles. He played with Blake Bortles. He played with Trubisky.
Jeez.
I think it like I said, I've been preaching this for a while. It really depends on what they do at the quarterback position, because if they do have someone really good, A-Rob's going to want to come here.
Right.
And he doesn't even want to sign that tag. So what's going to happen with that? You know what I mean? Like,
I'm not a capologist when it comes to football, so I don't know what does happen when someone doesn't sign their offer sheet.
well, I mean, then they can't play. Essentially, they're just sitting there.
Because the Bears retain the rights.
Because the Bears have the rights to his contract, and they did place the tag on him, which is good, because you remember a few years ago they did the transitional tag on Kyle Fuller, and that's a whole mess. You get one of each per year, and that's a whole mess where you can you give him an offer, and then someone else can come back with an offer and all this other bet. That's a nightmare. But I don't know, man. Look, I will say one thing though. Kenny Golladay is a free agent.
He is.
He is a free agent. After they brought back Jared Goff, they got a whole new system up there in Detroit. So, I mean, there is a guy out there.
It'd be nice to have him, A-Rob, and Mooney.
Oh, well, that's the thing, too. This is what I was saying before, is that if you're going after Wilson, you have to give up a bunch of draft capital. Mm-hmm. You have players, skill position players, that should be able to be stars with a good quarterback.
And there's a bunch of guys that have been cut because of salary restrictions and so forth that could be put into the offensive line.
So the Bears did have a ton of moves. Defensive end Mario Edwards, he had a career high 4 sacks last year. He did sign a 3-year deal worth $11.5 million. They also brought back Cairo Santos. He had a record-setting season for himself. He signed a 5-year deal worth up to $16 million. And the final 2 years of it are voidable, which will bring it to a 3-year deal worth a maximum of $11 million.
Not mad at it. So you secured a kicker.
Yeah, and what was it? A couple years ago, they had 8 on the roster at the same time.
Yeah, there was helicopters above Soldier Field watching this. So it was just a big hot mess.
Just one day after re-signing kicker Cairo Santos to his extension, the Bears also locked down another special teams player for 2021. The Bears brought back punter Pat O'Donnell on a 1-year deal. No money disclosed on that one.
Yeah, again, you're securing your special teams. I mean, that's exactly what you want to do. So not exactly the moves that we're lurking to forward hearing, because, we're on Deshaun Watson watch and Russell Wilson watch. But it's good to secure football players for the upcoming season, man.
You're football players, right?
They're football players, man.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They're the only 2 players in the team that actually use their foot.
Yeah. I see what you did there. Hold on. I got it. What, we have sound effects today? Where's that sound effects, people?
Are you paused?
There it is.
Okay. The Bears cleared up over $23 million in cap space by restructuring the 2021 base salaries of Khalil Mack, Eddie Jackson, and Cody Whitehair into signing bonuses. So basically, their salary is going to show up as a salary bonus instead.
So they're going to get paid up front, essentially. That's all that is.
There you go. Yeah. So, I mean, up front the money.
Manipulates the system.
That's exactly what you need to do. That's what successful organizations do, is find a way to play with the money.
Mm-hmm. All right, it won't be enough to afford. We don't know. Is it going to be enough to afford Russell? I mean, $19 million plus A-Rob's $18 million. That's 36 right there out of 182. You said. But
I mean, they're at least clearing space, so it feels like we're going in the right direction.
Yeah, we are going in the right direction. All right, regardless of what happens with the Wilson rumors, we've cleared up some space, and you know what? There's going to be availability for more free agents to come.
Yeah, I mean, you have to show other teams. I think right now everyone knows what the Bears are trying to do. but you have to show players, you have to show free agents, you have to show other teams you have to show your cards a little bit. You don't want to let everyone know exactly what you're going to do, but you definitely want to like at least give people an idea.
I think once the quarterback domino, the big domino falls, things will move fairly quickly.
Right. There was also some other potential cost-cutting moves on the horizon. We could see a contract extension of impending 2022 free agent Kyle Fuller or James Daniels. They could also either cut Jimmy Graham or see if he's willing to take a pay cut because he is set to earn $6.9 million after his first season here of $3 million.
Yeah, I think we talked about it either last show or the show before that, where I went down the list of names of players that should be either cut, what they're making, what's their cap hit, and so forth. And Jimmy Graham is one of them. I mean, I would like to keep him because he's a veteran and he's a good locker room presence and he's a good red zone threat, but I mean, not for that price.
Not for that price. Essentially, almost, more than double what you paid him last year.
Right.
I like him on the team. I like him with a veteran quarterback, especially being an older guy. I like him being in the room with Cole Kmet. But I don't like him for that price. One of Matt Nagy's favorite gadget players might not be coming back next season, which is very surprising to me. Wide receiver / Pro Bowl special teamer Cordarrelle Patterson. Cordarrelle Patterson, he put it on Twitter this week, "I'm ready to see where I'm playing next year."
All that recruiting for the Bears, and now you didn't even have a contract secured for yourself.
So the funny thing was that Tariq Cohen took to Twitter and he goes, "I can't believe that I don't know if our GM is going to be on the team next year or not because he's been playing GM on Twitter." Patterson has definitely been out there. He's been going after Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
He's been going after a lot of guys that are out there. So he's actually trying to pull people in. So, hey, good for you, man.
Hey, Cordell Patterson.
So we did hear a little bit about Mitch Trubisky. They do not plan to have him in their plans, and they plan to address their quarterback concerns via free agency or trade. We did hear from Ryan Pace earlier that Mitch might still be in the picture, but now this door seems to be all but closed.
Finally, like, let the kid go.
I feel like we knew that. I feel like we knew that was happening.
The city of Chicago
because
knew that.
I've been preaching for how many months now? You can't keep all three. You can't keep Nagy and Trubisky, right?
No.
That was just that was a marriage that didn't work, or that was basically
an arranged marriage.
Well, that too. But you know what this was? This was J-Lo and A-Rod.
Oh, wow.
It didn't last.
They're still together.
Yeah, okay. It seems there's real movement on the Russell Wilson to the Bears rumors. Jeremy Fowler was on SportsCenter this week, and he said there's league-wide expectations that the Bears are going to try to take a big swing at getting Wilson. Russ himself said he doesn't expect to be traded, but Pace and the Bears are still going to at least try to put together a package that would be interesting enough for Seattle to make that move.
I mean, at this point, you're showing your hand, your card, just saying like, we're going all in. We're putting our chips all in the middle of the table, and we're going in.
It's a team you know for a fact does not have a quarterback. One of the teams that was listed on his wish list was the Bears.
Yeah, but
the Raiders.
They want a quarterback in return. We don't have a quarterback to give them.
Well, Foles is going to go in any trade. But what I'm saying is that you can start knocking down these teams off the list because the Cowboys gave Dak a crazy amount of money.
Right.
The Raiders said that they're out. Yep. So I don't remember who the other team was.
What is it, the Jets?
No, it wasn't the Jets. It was, who cares? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is that out of the last two teams, one of them who doesn't matter at all to us, and the other one is Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
So why do you think that Wilson would want to come here?
Well, Wilson is intrigued by the Chicago market. He's an offensive-minded coach that we have here, the emerging offensive line. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's gotten better. It's a long shot for Wilson to be suiting up for the Navy and Orange. At the end of the day, there's a good chance that they'll turn to the backup plan, which is probably Ryan Fitzpatrick or Andy Dalton.
Right.
I mean, the Red Rocket, Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, they're not long-term options, but right now, their goal is to get their first ever 4,000-yard passer, no matter how it gets done.
That's sad. We haven't had a $4,000 pass.
They've come close.
4,000 yard, not dollar.
4,000. But you got to remember is that I think Cutler would have definitely been one of those guys.
If he wasn't hurt.
Well, it's not if he wasn't hurt. They relied on the running game. No. Running game, man. the game has changed since Cutler was in his prime. Now it's pass. A lot of the time when Cutler was out there, you had a lot of running game, you had a lot of like the short passes and things like that. So, I mean, it's a big difference of what it used to be.
Again, he was a gunslinger, and you had him doing something that's really not to his skill set.
I could spend a whole show talking about Cutty. Okay,
of course.
About
chicken cutlets,
how he got a raw. Because look, he got a raw deal. You can look back.
He did.
He got signed 12 years ago now, and he was here for 9.
Mm-hmm.
He got a raw deal in Chicago. You can't give a quarterback who's really up and coming, who had a Pro Bowl season in Denver, comes off of that. He gets his feelings hurt because the coach comes over and tries to bring another quarterback over. But then you sit there and you give him coach after coach after coach, offensive coordinator over and over again, and try to convince him and us that Devin Hester
pieces time after time. Yeah.
Devin Hester's your number one receiver. No, he is not. He's no one's number one receiver.
Hey, your guy Greg Olsen. Oh, we're gonna ship him out.
Yeah. Look, there was a lot of stuff that went on with that one. I wasn't mad in the long run because to me, when you break it down, it brought back Brandon Marshall. And Brandon Marshall, if you look at the records, he has every Bears receiving record, period. So, and I'll tell you this. I believe I mentioned it before. When I saw Cutler and Marshall in Denver, I was like, they had such chemistry.
Yeah, they did.
I felt like if they would have both stayed healthy, both stayed on point in a good system, you had potential for these two guys to be Montana and Rice.
Too much ego, both of them.
I think more of the ego was on Brandon's side. I think Cuddy was not too pleased about McDaniel going over there and be like, I think who did he want? Like Damon Heward, or he wanted whatever the he wanted the backup that was in New England at the time, but he didn't get him. And Cutler was like, well, screw you then. I'm going. I'm taking my ball and I'm going to Chicago. All right, man. What's going on at the Madhouse on Madison with the Hawks?
Well, the Blackhawks, again, they're a young team. They're going to go up and down. They're going to show some dominance. The Blackhawks continue to show us where they belong. I mean, they're going to get a playoff spot. Where they'll end up, we don't know.
Right.
I mean, they had a 4-2 win over Dallas, who were wearing their firefighter unis.
Okay, first of all, these are fire. I love these, man.
They're going to finish playing that hockey game and then they're going to go on IDOT and to help people with a flat tire.
They're all black, and then they got the neon green letters and the piping and all this stuff. Man, that was fire, man. Don't hate on it. Don't hate. I love the Blackhawks traditional jerseys, the Reds.
That's the thing. You were like, oh, tradition. And then you're like, oh, I like these too.
Yeah. Because they're not my uniforms.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Dallas Stars is the Dallas Stars. Chicago Blackhawks, Chicago Bears, Cubs, Sox. We have all these traditional logos.
Yeah.
Notre Dame. You know, the same guy that designed the Notre Dame logo, the Fighting Irish logo, is the same guy that designed the Chicago Bulls logo. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
And Chicago Bulls logo is one of the only, and if not, it might be the only logo in the NBA that does not include a basketball. So what you did is you relied on your design. You understand what I'm saying? So what I'm talking about is like Chicago teams, we have classics, but Dallas is kind of like, oh, we're new and cool and this and that. I mean, we're either bang, bang or, here's snow and COVID. So
1-star rating. That's all I'm saying. 1-star rating.
Right. So you know what I mean? Like that, like the Cowboys have a classic uniform, but like there are other teams, they can kind of play around with that kind of thing. Like Seattle has really cool uniforms on the football side, once they kind of started winning. I mean, Oregon basketball, Oregon football. I mean,
that's
it's Nike headquarters.
Nike headquarters. Well, the Blackhawks, again, like I said, they're going to be up and down. They dominate the Stars, and then they play the Florida team, the Panthers, and then they got pretty much the card flipped over on it, where they lost 4-2.
It's weird. They struggle against Florida teams
I
where
don't know.
They don't have ice down there, y'all.
Yeah,
I've been there. Ain't no ice.
Yeah, so we'll see what the Blackhawks do in the next couple of weeks. I mean, the trade deadline's coming up.
Yeah.
For them too. So they will be in the playoffs. That's all I'm going to say. They will be in the playoffs.
They are, like I've said before, a mirror image of the tenants on the other side of the building. So why don't you tell us about what's going on with them, the Bulls?
Oh, yeah. This is for Mike.
The Bulls?
This is for our boy Mike Logic.
The biggest Bulls fan I've ever known.
All right, the Bulls, Thursday morning, USA Basketball announced its 57 player finalist pool for the 2021 U.S. men's basketball roster for the Olympics. That's a mouthful.
Yeah. So this is essentially the 2020 Olympics that was supposed to be in Tokyo, and they ended up having to cancel that because of the COVID.
Right.
So now Zach is going to be one of the finalists to be in that player pool. You think he has a chance?
Oh, yeah, he's definitely got a chance. The way he's been playing this year, he's been putting up Mike numbers. And I'm saying not Mike Logic numbers, Michael Jordan numbers.
Hey-o.
So the Bulls, I mean, they've been on a 5-game homestand this week, and again, they're up and down. So they'll have you cheering out of your seat, and then want to make you punch your flat screen TV.
Turnovers. That is the key for this team.
Yes.
You had Kobe White got benched. Wendell got benched. So we got to see what comes out of that.
So apparently that looks like the coach is going to come up with a new rotation and put those two guys coming off the bench.
Well, they got benched for the game. I don't know. They're probably going to. I don't know who's going to start in their place.
That's what they've been saying.
But that's what happened with Kobe last year. He got benched, and then eventually he was like, "Oh, it lit a fire underneath him," and he started playing a lot better.
Well, it's simple as this. Donovan's not going to play. He's like, either going to play my system and ask you what I'm asking you to do, what I'm asking you to do, or we're going to ship you out.
Like I said before, he's a college coach.
Yeah.
That's where he came from. That's why he's Noah's favorite person. So what we wanted here was a guy that could be a leader of young men. How he does with veterans. I mean, I'll say that when he was in OKC, Chris Paul loved him.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they both kind of went their separate ways away from Oklahoma City.
I think he's able to manage both, where he's able to handle these kids and hold the veterans accountable.
I hope so. I hope that's true, because I would love to see this team develop where the guys that they have now that are budding superstars actually come to fruition in Chicago instead of going somewhere else and flourishing when they're in their, 5th, 6th, and 7th season in the league. And
Jimmy Butler.
Well, Jimmy was done here, man. Jimmy's like ego. Jimmy's Kanye West. Okay, Jimmy is Kanye West.
He started sounding like Seinfeld. Jimmy does this and Jimmy does that.
But Jimmy, but Jimmy is Kanye West, man. Like he forever, no one took him seriously. He was underrated, and then he started smelling his own crap. Eventually, he was like, "That smells pretty sweet," and we're all like, "Yo, it still smells like boo boo." And that's what happened with Jimmy Butler. His ego got the best of him.
Yeah, he went Hollywood.
He
got Hollywood.
Well, you know what happened is that he started hanging out with Marky Mark.
Yeah.
He's like, "Hey, Marky Mark, have you ever seen Jimmy Butler in his house? He has a giant fish tank in the shape of like a boombox right when he comes to his house."
Never seen that.
Yeah, it's wild.
I don't watch MTV Cribs. I thought they canceled that.
Well, that's because the boombox plays Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. What's up with your boy Larry?
Larry actually showed up, so he played a pretty good game when he came back. I mean, I think he had double figures in points, like 19 points or something like that.
Markkanen is back, but the problem with Markkanen is that when Markkanen plays, the Bulls lose.
Here's the issue. We got Larry back, we got Otto Porter back, and it threw off Zach's timing and figuring out who gets the ball, rotation. Well,
coming out of the break is the first time they've been healthy all year with all their players on the court.
Right.
No COVID, no broken ankles, no hurt egos.
Yeah. So, again, Donovan's got his work cut out for him, but now he has every tool in the shed to come up with something.
Well, I mean, I think you're still trying to figure out a way that you can bamboozle another team
to take Porter.
To take Porter the same way that the Wizards bamboozle the Bulls to take
That's
Porter.
Right. All right, what's going on in Wrigleyville?
Wrigleyville, not a damn thing. Really, nothing. Not a lot going on the Cubs side right now. I will say your boy from your other favorite team, Jock Peterson, man, he's been on fire. He's knocking it out of the park quite a bit.
Yeah, he looks pretty good. I mean, he's hitting home runs left and right.
I'm doing a happy dance, man.
I know, because I wanted him on my team. I've been saying that for a while. So I'm glad he's doing well for you guys. You got your left fielder. I mean, what can I say?
I mean, I again will reiterate. When I go back to talking about Jock Peterson and I go back to talking about Schwarber, change the scenery, man.
Yeah.
Change the scenery for guys who came out on fire and then really just couldn't continue that. I'm all for it, man. Listen, there's some weird things going on though. In the minors, they're testing out a lot of.
Oh man, this is horrible.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole bunch of rule changes that's going to be tested in the minors this season. Larger bases.
Yeah,
what's this, T-ball?
So, yeah, it's going to cut out 6 inches worth of travel time. I think this is the stupidest
thing. You're gonna have a lot of broken ankles, man.
Is this part of the cancel culture? We're gonna make everything easier for everybody.
Oh no, let's not go there. Let's not Pepe the Pew this. So you're gonna have defensive positioning restrictions. So
shifts, no shifts.
Yeah, so you're gonna have to have. I remember they were very strict about the wording of this. It was like you have to have 4 infielders at a certain position and this far apart from each other and blah blah blah. I get that.
Yeah.
Automatic ball strike system. So we're talking about robo umps.
So you're looking at the balls and strikes being controlled by a robotic system, a computer system. Now, I've seen this on Real Sports and where they've done this in the minors 4 or 5 years ago. It works okay. It does. But here's the issue. You have Altuve. What is he, like 4'9"? And then you have the monsters in New York.
Yeah, Judge.
Yeah, Judge. Will that system adjust? So,
what we've been seeing for years on Fox, on ESPN, on your local stations, you see the box where it says it's not official, but it looked like a strike or it was outside. And then that's kind of how we judge. So the thing is that in order for this to work, you have to have every broadcaster, every team, every showing of a game, everything that we all get, including officials, because you're still going to have some type of human official in the background and be like, oh, no. No,
the ump will still be there because remember, he has to call like a third ball strike if it drops or to play at home plate.
No, what I'm talking about for the ball, what I'm saying is that every station has their own little way of doing it, way it looks.
Oh, yeah.
So you have every station, everybody has to have the exact same thing,
right?
No matter where you're located and how good what kind of money you got. Because look at the ESPN graphics versus the local. It ain't the same, bro.
No, not at all. Not at all.
So that's the big thing with that. Another thing they got to do is pitchers must now step off the rubber to attempt a pickoff.
I thought
it's weird.
You know what? The balk rule is probably one of my most annoying rules that in baseball.
And 99% of the time, the pitcher's like, "What the heck is a balk?" I've never even heard that word.
Yeah, well, the balk is you got to keep your foot on the rubber.
You can't move towards the plate and then throw over to first.
Correct.
That's essentially what it is. So you can only fake out one guy at a time. That's what they're saying.
Right. And if you're going to throw it to first, you have to step off the rubber.
Right.
So now they're just making it official. You must step off the rubber to pick off.
So one more thing that they're talking about doing is a 15-second pitch clock. I know there's gonna be guys like Lester who absolutely hate this because they like taking their time and standing up there and sweating for a while.
I'm for this.
Yeah, I'm not mad at it because the idea is to shorten up the game. But again, I'm glad
it's going to shorten it up 5 minutes. It's not going to make a difference.
I'm glad that they are doing it in the minors, not the majors. Because sometimes waiting for that pitch and watching that dude sweat, that's sometimes the best part.
Yeah, bullpen guys, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, man, what's going on with the so-so?
Well, the White Sox. These no, the White Sox.
Trouble in paradise?
No trouble. The White Sox are releasing tickets for opening day. Now, 90% of these tickets are going to season ticket holders. I'm not mad.
No, you have to think of it this way.
These guys have their money in accounts that have been sitting there for 18 months.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. The fact that you've essentially been sitting on waiting for your opportunity. That money's been sitting there for all that time.
Right.
Everyone, I don't care who you are, at least at some point during COVID, you're like, I hope I can eat tomorrow. Unless you're rich. Yeah. You're like, man, I hope I can work enough this week to eat tomorrow. You know what I mean? I hope my kids get fed. And these guys sat there and let that money sit and let it ride. So I'm not mad at them getting first crack at it.
No, I'm not mad. I'm just mad I'm not a season ticket holder anymore. So the rest is going to the general public. And guess what? I don't know how that's going to work out because both stadiums, north side and south side, will be at 20% capacity, which is about 8,000 people.
And that's great news for the White Sox because you guys can fill up your quota. It'll make it look like a full stadium.
Let me tell you this.
Look, I don't go after the White Sox, so I had to do it this time.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. Opening day is jam-packed to the rafters.
So let me tell you something. Texas, for the first game of the season.
It's Texas, man.
100% capacity. Now, if I'm not mistaken, after that first game, they're going to go back to a smaller crowd. Are you stupid?
Remember that they had a snowstorm and had no power because they wanted to be individuals and have their own power grid. Guess what? No one helped you, dummies.
Wah, wah. There it is.
Yeah, I'm not controlling the board right now, so I couldn't do it. All right. In addition, ballparks will feature limited contact entries, cashless concessions, and reconfigure the concourses and additional bathrooms.
Right. So what are you gonna do? Take out some toilets? How do you do that? How do you do that in Wrigley? Because
well, Wrigley's already a toilet.
Stop. First of all, don't be hating. Okay. All right.
I had to.
You had to add the laugh track to make that funny.
Oh, I was funny.
But no, this is my concern. You go to Wrigley, you're pissing in a bucket anyway. So it's just a long bucket. So what happens now? The thing is that at least if someone's like shoulder to shoulder me, like I know no one's over here trying to like take a peek. Now if you're 6 feet apart, I mean,
there's probably be some porta potties in the concourse on the back over there by left field.
How do you sanitize that? You can't sanitize that between, you know what I mean? Like someone goes in there, they have an attendant for a porta potty going, because that's the only way you can keep it quote unquote safe. Think about it.
I know what you're saying,
right?
But
so I mean, you know,
either way, I don't go to Wrigley.
Stop it. Oh, how are you going to do the bathrooms at the G spot?
At the G spot,
it's the same thing. In order to have enough, I mean, that's the thing is that if you're cutting down capacity. Now, one thing that I did hear is that even though they're cutting down capacity, they are still going to have a fully staffed stadium. I know the Cubs are at least.
Well, you're going to have to because of the demand to get people's food and water and
it's not just that. So the reason they're still keeping so much concession open is so that you can allow people to distance when you have a much smaller amount. But the problem is that at that now again. We talked about this before when it comes to the money. Crane Kenny was on the radio and he was talking about how that amount of revenue that would come in from about 20% of the people that would come in, that's going to cover just about the cost of all the vendors and all the stadium workers.
Right. So he's going to break even.
You're still sitting there trying to figure out where your profit's going to come from. And that's going to play key into who they're going to be able to sign in the offseason, or if they're going to be able to trade for anyone and take on the salary and so on and so forth.
They'll be fine. They'll be fine.
They'll be fine for the future, yes. But I'm saying for this year.
No, for this year, you're going to be selling. There's no reason to push for anything if you guys cannot get past Atlanta, the Dodgers, or the Padres.
Never know.
I do know.
You don't know.
I do know.
Hey, the Rays went to the World Series a couple of years ago with.
Did they win?
They went to the World Series a couple of years ago when the Yankees had a giant payroll, when the Red Sox had a giant payroll. So, I mean, it's just...
You don't have that team.
You get in where you fit in.
Your bullpen is nowhere near their bullpen.
You don't know that. That's why you make them... Hey,
man, let's just go to the line because we're going to be here forever going back and forth.
Let me tell you, let me give you an interesting tidbit.
Uh-oh.
Never look Liam Hendricks directly in the face. Because you know he's from New Zealand. I am dead serious. I'm pretty sure that one of his parents is a marsupial. This is he looks like a cartoon character. It's one of the creepiest things I've ever seen. But they're looking at, look at the Sox bullpen. And my wife was like, yo, what is that? And I was like,
I think he's from Australia.
That's a person. That's definitely a person. I mean, okay, so then they got marsupials down there too. They're next door neighbors. What are you talking about, bro? What's going on with the Fighting Illini?
The Fighting Illini, actually, they're playing right now.
Yeah, man.
This is Sunday, and let's see, we're up 36-24. Just give a little recap here.
Yeah.
We're playing number 5 Ohio State for the Big Ten Championship, and this is huge because you want that number 1 seed.
They're going to be a 1, man. If they win this game, which they should, they're up by 10. They are going to be a number 1 seed, which is great. I mean,
avoid Michigan as much as you can.
Look, I don't want anything to do with Michigan anyway. But it's one of those things where Illinois comes around every 15 years or so. We're like, we're good, and then
every time the White Sox are good.
Oh god, here we go. There we go. Look, you know what's going to happen is that they're going to get a couple of guys that get drafted out of this team, and there's going to be one guy that's going to be so kind of throughout his league. D-Will. Yep. And then you're going to have a bunch of guys that play in the league forever, and you're not even going to remember where they went to college. Like Luther Head.
Did he play for the Bulls?
I don't know, man. He played. I want to say he played for Houston for a long time.
Yeah,
but he was just like
Bounced around after that.
Oh, you're a major league player, huh? I didn't know that.
All right, Illinois basketball is getting interesting by the minute, brother.
Dude, so we just found out, we just finished watching this Illinois game.
Yes.
They won the Big Ten championship, so they do take a #1 seed. Now, the interesting thing about that is that there's another local Chicago team, Illinois being local enough, we're in the same state, another local Chicago team that did make the tournament.
Yes, Loyola of Chicago. Those nuns are working up there. They're working overtime.
Ramblers, let's get rambling.
Yeah, they're playing Georgia Tech, so Loyola's going to be an 8 seed, and Georgia Tech is a 9 seed. They're playing in the same bracket,
So
in
now-
the same section.
And that's the crazy thing. If both teams win, they're going to play each other in the second round.
What team are you taking if they play each other?
Illinois. Illinois is the #1 seed. They've been one of the best teams all season.
I was talking about more like fandom, more one of the #1 versus 8, but
Illinois. I mean, because the thing is that I don't even remember her name. The sister that was out there, the sister, Sister Jean, maybe.
it probably is.
Yeah.
Sister Jean.
Yeah, a couple of years ago when the Ramblers were really on fire, you saw her a lot, so we kind of got back behind them. But in 2005, when Illinois went to the tournament and they went to the final, and I think they lost.
Did they lose?
With
Yep.
D. Will and Luther Head and all those players. Illinois all the way.
I'm going to agree with you with this. Illinois all the way. I love the Loyola factor, Chicago factor is a little bit more local.
Right.
But if Illinois wasn't in there, yeah, I'm all day for
Well, and the thing is, too, is that the Chicago Bears got their colors from the University of Illinois.
That's right. That's a little tad bit you gave us last week.
I sure did. So one other crazy thing happened today, which is really going to affect, I think.
It is going to affect.
It's going to affect, because earlier when I was talking about the Bears and I was trying to remember who that fourth team was that was vying for Russell Wilson.
Yeah, New Orleans.
The New Orleans Saints.
Yes.
And their quarterback from Purdue, Drew Brees.
Their former quarterback.
Former quarterback Drew Brees.
Yeah.
Drew Brees announced his retirement. So now
That throws a wrench in our plans.
that does. Because I feel like we had the inkling that Brees was done,
Yeah.
but it wasn't official, and he waited to make it official.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you were saying something about it being the same day.
Oh, yeah. It's at, was it 15-year career, whatever it is?
Yeah,
Or
like to
18?
the day or something
to
like
the
that.
exact same day that he signed with New Orleans.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, because remember, he was with the Chargers originally.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So I don't know, man, because
That throws a wrench in our plans just because New Orleans throws the ball.
well, it's not. That was one of the teams that was mentioned when Russ says, hey, these are the teams I would prefer to go to if I was going anywhere. It was the Saints. It was Oakland, or actually Vegas Raiders now.
Yes.
It was the Dallas Cowboys, and it was the Chicago Bears, who was the dark horse and all of that. Well, Vegas came out and says,
Nope.
Derek Carr, that's our guy.
Yep.
And Dallas just gave
Dak.
Prescott a whole bunch of money, man.
And they're still going to have a 1-star rating. No, this really throws a big wrench in our plans just because Sean Payton's the coach that you want to play for.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, did you hear this thing that happened? When Sean Payton actually used one of Matt Nagy's plays.
Oh,
after
yeah.
the first
Oh, yeah, I
round?
did hear that. He's like, yeah, that was a great play, so I stole it.
But here's the thing: you have to think about this. Where did Ryan Pace come from?
Nola.
So he came from New Orleans. So you were talking about Sean Payton versus Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace, right?
Mm-hmm.
If Sean Payton is out here stealing Matt Nagy's plays, that means that the type of system they have there and the type of system that we are supposed to have here should be pretty similar.
It is. It's just that they have better personnel.
They have better personnel. They have a very good running back, and they have a very good receiver.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know how much else they have over there.
I think their offensive line is comparable to ours.
Yeah, I would hope so.
I hope so.
And to be
Protecting
fair,
Drew Brees.
to be fair, the line did get a lot better once they kind of got settled, and
Yes.
even bringing in the backups, and that's without Daniels.
Right.
with the two Notre Dame guys right in the middle.
That's what you got to do, man.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I think it definitely makes it interesting. I think that they have a lower pick than we do, so their first round picks would be lower in general right now. But yeah, man.
Good news. Good news. All right. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
This is Chicago. Doors open on the left at Chicago.
Welcome to Chicago.
Welcome back to the True Chicago Sports Fans Podcast with E-Roc and Big-Z.
Yeah.
We have one of our very favorite people, one of our first ever repeat guest, I think.
This is our first repeat guest and one of our favorite people to talk to just because he's so charismatic.
Absolutely.
And he's one of our favorite fighters.
Absolutely. Today we bring back Jose Shorty Torres. What's going on?
What's up, guys? I'm actually burning up right now. I'm in the sauna working out. So I just did an hour workout. I got an hour here in the sauna, and then I'm doing a little hot bath because I'm about a week and a half, to my fight. I'm getting close to weigh-in. So for me, sadly, I'm fat as hell, so I always have to do a little extra to cut that weight. And I'm not even gonna lie to you, man. 2 days ago, I had a rest day, so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do one big workout since I'm gonna have the rest of the day to relax. Enjoy the water, and I know the next day I'm gonna wake up a little heavier, but everything's all good. That workout ended up being amazing. I lost a ton of weight. I was like, oh wow, I'm a lot closer than I expected. And me being, a jerk that I am to myself, I decided to kind of sabotage it with a little extra food. And I'm like, damn it, I'm back where I'm at. All right, I gotta make it strict again.
Restart all over again.
Yeah. How hard is that yo-yo of cutting weight and monitoring what you're doing? How hard is that for you?
It is easily. I was actually talking to, I can't remember what country he's from, but just it's crazy because, Brave is an international promotion. So we're all, we're from around the world. I'm one of the only Americans here. And one of the guys right now just walked out with the sauna top and bottom out of the sauna suit. I'm just in, long sleeve and sweatpants.
Right.
And he comes out drenched. He weighs in on Wednesday and he's like, oh, your turn? Zach, you're in. And I was like, yeah. Yeah. And we're just both looking at each other laughing, but we hate it. And it's the craziest thing is that anytime we don't have a fight, we want to fight. Anytime we have a fight, we can't wait till it's over. Once it's over, we're like, we can't wait till it happens again. But the worst, the very worst part, besides the injuries during training camp and all that stuff, is it's just a weight cut. It's the worst thing in the world. And I mean, people can say, oh, you should eat better, or you should just bump up weight class.
It's not that easy. It is not that easy.
Dude, it's a lot more complicated than what people think. And for me, I'm 10 days away from weighing and I'm already cutting weight, So that shows how much weight that I usually have to cut. And honestly, this is the only time, like 3 weeks out from the fight, is the only time I ever just want to quit everything. I just want to stop life. I just want to do whatever. I'd rather work a 9-to-5 job than do this.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
No,
you don't.
Nah, trust me, it's better being able to, see the world and travel and kind of do what you love, This, what it reminds me of is, I think we were talking about it before, is that the high school kids for wrestling, they were running up and down all the stairs trying to cut weight real quick right before the fight.
Dude, it's not fun at all. And for me, so in Bahrain right now, they got hit with COVID really, really hard. So
wow.
Every hotel, we're just fortunate and lucky enough to even be here. And the hotel's nice enough to follow the accommodations of the Bahrain Sports Accord and the committees and all that. So they're like, hey, for the first 2 weeks that I was here, they're like, no one can use the workout room, no one can use the sauna. I'm like, we got fighters fighting. You're gonna have to work on you're gonna have to figure something out because we're not gonna let you cut weight anywhere else besides your room. So you're gonna have to hot bath and work on the rug and stuff like that. And I'm like, you're gonna have a lot of fighters miss weight, and eventually, they were accommodating to letting one person go in the sauna at a time. So even though this is at least a 10-person sauna, it's only one person at a time, and I only have it for an hour, and I usually use it for a full hour. So instead of doing my intervals where I get to walk out and take a break, I have to sit down on the floor to try to cool off, but I'm still hot. And then after my time's up, come back up here and do it again. So it's an hour straight in the sauna, and then, I go do my other stuff after.
Why don't you tell us about the kind of diet that you have to be eating, especially this time, right before a fight?
Man, again, easier said than done. It's protein, carbs, and fats, and it's all limited, So I usually have about 4 to 5 ounces of protein. Usually it's about chicken or fish, ground turkey, one of those three. No red meat. That's completely out of the question right now, sadly. If I'm having vegetables, it's usually like a serving and a half of vegetables because, again, I'm trying to limit my carbs right now. And my vegetables have to be usually as green as possible.
Right.
Spinach, kale, broccoli, the stuff we just don't want to have. And
everything I throw in a smoothie that I don't want to eat. Yeah,
right.
That's what I do.
Yeah. So it's like, damn, I got to have that. And then, a portion of fat. So it's either like an egg yolk, half an avocado, some olive oil on the side, maybe a scoop of peanut butter, So everything has to be limited. And I have about 4 meals a day, and everything's like split up in time. So I can't have a meal every 3 hours. I have to have a super tiny meal every 4 or 5 hours. And I'm not doing these crazy workouts, but these workouts are long and strenuous. Like right now, with everything, my workout's about 3 hours.
Wow.
And that's one. And I do 2 of them a day just to cut this weight. It's not hard. It's just long and tedious. So using the kilometers and that metric system over here is, I'm running about 5K, doing half an hour on the bike, an hour in the sauna, and 30 minutes in the bath. Dude, this is tough. And I can tell you this, I just finished talking to my nutritionist right before this. It is 100% mental. There are a couple of days where I just didn't want to do it. I didn't do a hot bath, didn't do this. And honestly, it's not that bad, but it's the mindset that makes you not want to do it. It's like going to work. You do work every single day, but there's that one day, man, you're just like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And you overthink everything and make it so much worse. And then the next day you do it perfectly fine.
Yeah, that's usually Monday through Thursday for me.
No, okay, don't out here bragging.
Friday, you're like, all right, one day I got this.
Friday you get 100% from me.
It's a struggle, man. The food's okay. Luckily the hotel's feeding us, so at least I'm getting my gourmet meals and everything's made. Like if I have a chef next to me, which is dope. But it's also the problem of saying no. For them, I just tell them what I want, and then they give it to me. The only problem is I have to portion it. And for me, it's just like anybody. It's like your grandmother comes to the table with a bunch of food. You don't tell her no, So it's like automatically instilled in me that I'm eating for the children in Africa and trying to and we all got that excuse as a kid. So it's like I hate going, hey, I can't have this side of the food. Can you give it to somebody? Can you do something with it? So it sucks, man. I feel like I'm wasting a lot of food.
That's exactly what I was going to go into is like, what are you craving, especially from, having all the good food in Chicago? What is your biggest craving right now?
Yeah.
Oh, man. And I'm not even lying. I'm a jerk to myself. I go on Instagram and I'm looking up like food porn, man. I'm just looking up cake, donuts, pizza. Like I've already got a list of places to go to in Chicago, So I'm just like, damn, I gotta hook this up and figure it out. But it is 100% a mind game where it's like 10 more days, just don't quit. 10 more days, and I gotta get it done. It's one of those things that I've done, 100 plus times because of wrestling. Right. And I did it worse than wrestling. It's technically much easier now. It's just a mindset, man. It's crazy that I looked at it when I was a wrestler in college. Dude, I used to run about 4 to 5 miles in the morning with a sauna top and bottom hat, then bike, then elliptical, and then go hot bath, do a practice later on the day, and then do the same run at night. And I'd run almost 10 miles a day for 5 days a week. And I'm super motivated to do it. I hated it. My body was dying, but I do it.
Right.
And I was super malnourished. But now I'm eating well. I'm doing all these things, but I'm still thinking like the same thing. Like, oh, I got to do this, do that. I'm like, I'm doing half the work. Why am I complaining so much? So
that's true.
It's trying to just push through and train smart, not too hard.
Well, check it out. When you come back to Chicago, maybe
we'll do a food.
We'll have to do a
food crawl.
Show.
Food crawl.
Let's do a show trip and we'll get together and we'll do some and we can do some collaborations while we run through some Chicago establishments.
Hey, I'm down with that because actually there's a couple places I have in mind that I usually always hit up. One of the places that I'm hoping and looking to invest in possibly after this fight, there's a pop-up place that comes up. It's called Prime Tacos. They're known for the Cheeto Burger going all around the city of Chicago. And they made like a Cheeto burrito, they're made for like birria tacos and all that stuff.
We're down.
They've been snapping and man, they've been doing a phenomenal job. It's one of the guys I went to high school with, and I've been showing up to this place every Sunday. And it's different places: Humboldt Park, Pilsen, Cicero, Berwyn. So they've been killing it, man. And it's been a fun time. So
we might have to stalk this guy.
I guess I'm not cutting weight anymore.
We're not gonna cut weight.
Hey, let me ask you a question. This is the second time we had you on, so we got to talk about your career a little bit. But let me ask you a question. What's something people seem to misunderstand about you?
Damn. My height, maybe. I'm a lot shorter than what you think. No, I really don't know because I do put my world out there. You know, I'm not one of those guys that like to keep secrets. I'm a very extroverted type of person, so I want a social life. I want to be put out there. The only problem is, you know, I'm always traveling. I'm always training, so I miss time to friends, family, all that stuff. Social media is my way out, my way to connect with people. And
That's awesome.
I let my world out there every Sunday, which reminds me, I got to do the questionnaire today. And I just answer questions and put myself out there. I don't know if there's anything people don't understand about me. You know, I think the random and regular misconception is, you know, that I'm a fighter. I love fighting. I'm violent, and it's all about me.
Right.
Yeah, the sport might be selfish, but man, I'm a very loving person. I have my own foundation. I'm always trying to help. I'm always trying to. I hate fighting, you know, especially the weight cut, but I hate fighting. I've never been a violent person. Just so I happen to be a sport I'm good at, a profession that pays me well. You know, it's stuff that I don't do this sport for me. I do it for other people. You know, so for me, I cherish all the moments that I meet with people, and I think one of the biggest misconceptions, thinking about it now, is people are like, "Oh, you don't remember me," or this or that. It's like, there's two reasons why I don't remember you. One, I have a lot of people that know me, and I try my best to remember everyone, so it's really hard to multitask. And two, man, I get punched in the face really good. I forget, man. Like that, I can't control that.
That's
awesome. All right, so keeping on with these difficult questions that we want to trip you up on. What is one thing you wish you'd known when you began your career?
I think, man, the two biggest things, and I was telling, so I was a 2-time amateur world champ and the first ever to do it in MMA. And there's another kid here that I'm training with by the name of Mohammed Mokaev. And he's good, man. You know, Dagestani kid's real good. And we had a fun time. And, you know, I'm a little superior to him. It's just natural experience. I'm 28. He's 20. Hell, I better beat him a little bit. But as I started to cut weight a little bit, I'm like, man, this kid's pretty damn good. Like, he's beating me up. And then he kicked me in the face one day. I was like, God damn it, you know? So it's one of those things that, like, you know, one, definitely don't judge a book by its cover, especially by age. But it's one of those things, man, that I was watching him run the warm-ups the other day, and the way he's moving and stretching and all that stuff, and the knowledge he already has acquired at the age of 20, I was like, man, you might be mad or a little jealous or envious of me right now because I'm just a little bit better than you with the same resume technically growing up. Man, if I was the same age as you, you'd mess me up. You know, like, your experience level is way higher than mine. So these kids evolve so much faster. And I say kid, yeah, I'm 28. I'm not old myself, but it's the fact of, like, I saw him moving. I was like, man, I can't do that right now. I need to stretch, you know? So I wish I would have stretched a lot more when I was younger, taking care of my body that way more instead of being the prideful Latino, you know, the Mexican brawl type of fight all the time. And then two is, I think jiu-jitsu is one of those things that I lacked. I didn't swallow my ego. I was always so scared to lose in practice and lose in front of people, lose in front of girls. And now today I have to catch up and I have to accept losing, which is perfectly fine. But it's like, why couldn't I do this years ago? So it's
your pride and
swallowing
ego.
my ego and just trying to believe in myself and see where it goes from there.
You know, that's a hard thing to do. I mean, even in what we do here, I mean, just sitting there, we had to figure out the kinks of, all right, who's going to talk when, and is it okay if I talk? And then, you know, it's just like that. It's just like anything else. It comes with experience, and you learn to kind of let certain things go, and you kind of move on.
Definitely.
So, speaking of moving on, I want to ask you this one, because we always get a good response out of this question. Let's talk about the things that you can't move on from. What is your most petty pet peeve?
Maybe I could change. You know, it's funny. Is like my humor is like as modestly honest as possible. Where I'm like, baby, I hope you listen to this. I can change. No, man. You know, I try my best not to be petty. I think the biggest things for me is, and I've been, you know, just like anybody, especially growing up in the hood, you've been scammed, you've been bamboozled, There's been some tomfoolery that's gotten you and went over your head, and then you look back at it and you're like, And that was common sense. I was such a fool. And there's so many things. Hell, I look back at stuff when I was in 3rd grade, still don't regret it. You know, I was like, man, that was common sense, So it's one of those things that even still today at 28, I got con last year out of money. I got, people doing this, doing that. The whole Tyson thing where he's like, people only loved me and wanted to be a part of my entourage because they had the money. And then once, the money was gone, they were gone, So it's like, the petty thing for me is trying to swallow my pride, as we were talking about earlier, and swallow my ego and get over those past mistakes and go, it's okay. As long as I learn from it, then it ain't really a mistake. It's one of those things that made me better as a man. But if I'm not learning from it, then cool, I can regret that for the rest of my life because that's just how it's going to be. Because I ain't gonna move forward anyways. But I think for me, it's swallowing my ego about some past mistakes, and I think for me, the times I've been really kind of made look like a fool, or even made myself look like a fool, and go, why did I even make that mistake?
All right, so I wanted to ask, who are the 3 people that have been the most influential in your life?
Damn. Is Dylan.
Yes.
It's like, is there 2 more? Dylan and Dylan.
Yes.
No, man, I've had 3 real inspirational people in my life, and I've had so many. For my coaches now, my coaches in the past, my family, friends, all that stuff. Everyone's influenced me, whether it's in good or bad. I've had people I hate, and there's only a handful of people I hate, and they've influenced me for a certain reason, because maybe I don't want to have that tomfoolery happen again. It's one of those things that 3 people that influenced me for sure was, my father. He was the only reason I started fighting. My dad was a gang member. My father was a Harrison Gent. The only reason, he played with us was 2 reasons. One, to, beat us up because he was mad and we were in his way, or, he beat us up because he was play fighting and tried to teach us how to defend ourselves, So it was always fight, but it was tough love. It made me that tough person I am today, and I did this sport because of him, whether I was forced or not. It was one of those things I learned how to defend myself because of it. And dude, I'm across the world because of him. Second is my brother. My brother, being 8 years older, shout out to D-Tech for all those people who know what, good graffiti is in Chicago.
That's what's up.
He's one of those guys, man, that, he had easily the toughest upbringing from, us two and possibly a lot of people in my family. It's the fact of, he goes through his natural PTSD of, some of the childhood stuff he's gone through, traumas, but he still pushes through, even, through his handicap injuries and his 2 near fatal deaths, which has been crazy if people know anything about that. But he's one of those guys, man, that for me, he was that really good / really bad big brother. And I say that as he was really bad because he did all the dumb stuff growing up. And then when I was coming up, being 8 years younger, he's like, hey, I went left. Don't do that. You should go right. And he really instilled that in me. And I was like, okay, all right. I know you're not really at my level anymore when it comes to, experience or this or that, but you've experienced certain things. And that's why you're telling me from your mindset why I should do these certain, things. And it's like, okay, I'll take that into consideration and I'll accept it and go from there. And the last thing is my coach, Master Bob Sherber, man. When I was 16, I was starting to get involved in my dad's stuff, hanging out with my brother more, doing stuff like that. And, I was that bad kid, very egotistical. I got kicked out of the gym 3 times. And for some reason, I just wanted to keep on coming back. And, if he would have kicked me out and kept me out, I more than likely would have been in gangs. I would have been working at the pizzeria or joining the military or doing, whatever hood stuff, or even in jail or dead. So it's one of those things, man, that, you have these positive influences, and that's why I have my foundation to meet people like Master Bob, to meet positive reinforcement, father figures, because again, my father and brother weren't the best, so I had Master Bob there with me on my side to tell me what to do, tell me what not to do. Hey, I'm going to treat you like my son because that's what you deserve. And I'm traveling the world because of him. He's taught me hand-to-hand combat and morals and ethics and politics and this and that. And man, I can't thank that man enough.
That's love right there. I mean, to have an outside influence come in and really teach you what it is to be a man and then follow through with it, that's love. That's love right there. Let's talk about your upcoming fight, but first, tell us about your first fight with Sean Santella, and then tell us, kind of what you hope to change in the rematch so you can come out on top this time.
You know, for me, I'm a very mental person. I'm a very extroverted type of person. And if I'm not having fun, I'm not going to perform. You know, yeah, I do well under pressure, and that's why I was able to get the draw the last fight.
Mm-hmm.
But he got the best of me. You know, I was coming back after my father's, sadly passing, trying to push through my mental stuff. You know, lost my engagement. Maybe I can change. You know, I lost a lot of money. I lost a lot of things. So trying to push through that and find a new home and find, you know, a good sense of people around me, positive reinforcement, has been hard. And now I can say after that fight, I was, you know, happy. I was like, man, I got this huge sense of relief off my shoulder, which is dope. Why couldn't this happen 3 rounds ago? But it's the fact of, I knew what his game plan was. I always had the strategy in mind. I just didn't perform, and it's the mindset. You know, I went in there with the game plan, and it wasn't even that I got punched in the mouth because he's a jiu-jitsu guy. It was the fact that I got prideful, egotistical, and I guess that's the whole moral of my conversation right now: swallow your pride and put those blinders down and kind of focus on your whole surroundings. And for me, I want to make this a stand-up type of fight. He's a really good jiu-jitsu fighter, you know, very good jiu-jitsu practitioner, and I know he's going to tighten up his game for this one. Really try the same stuff, but really try to adapt a little more into it. Yeah, I got to really improve my striking, use my jab, keep my distance, utilize my kicks, you know, have some great takedown defense, and know when he's coming in and probably set up a, you know, an uppercut, a knee, a kick, whatever the case may be. And hell, man, if it goes to decision, it goes to decision again, but a win's a win. That's all that matters, and that's the way I should be looking at it, instead of trying to force my way into the knockout, and then I'm putting myself in really, you know, brutal situations.
Agreed. So, not that we want to jump over this fight, because this fight's important, you're focused on this, but is there a fight after this that you're like, hey, I want to fight this guy or that guy, somebody that intrigues you, maybe a style, or maybe because they're up and coming, or who is somebody that intrigues you that you want to fight after Sean?
So the next 2 guys are in my side of the bracket is Dustin Ortiz, which is number 3 in the world before he was released by the UFC. He was on a 3-fight winning streak, lost to Joseph Benavidez, who was number 1 behind the champion. And it was unanimous decision. I think it was 29-28 all the way through. Wow. And then you have Ali Bagutinov, who's a really, really good Russian fighter. I don't know if he's Dagestani. If he is, it makes it that much more scary. You look at Makhachev, Khabib, and all those other guys. They're ridiculously scary. But Ali was a title contender, fought for the belt, sadly lost against literally the best flyweight ever in its UFC's history. But they're both very dangerous. I think Ali's a more dangerous fan entertaining fight because he's strong, man. He wants to brawl. He looks like a mini version of Dolph Lundgren when it comes to the muscles. Like he's just that type of monster. But then you have Dustin Ortiz, where he might not be a monster, but he's a very, very technical, you know, fighter where he's just smart. He's like, you know what, man? You're stronger than me. I'm not going to mess with that. So I'm going to do this and do that. And if I get the decision, I get the decision. That, I think, is the scariest thing. It would be a much tougher fight. I'd rather fight Ali just because it's more fan entertaining. And I love one of us to get knocked out just to put on a show. But I think Dustin Ortiz is more of a chess match. And that would be more of a match of skill and wit and go, am I ready for that level yet?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see if you are, and I think that you probably are, man. I'm looking forward to what you have in store for us for the future, man.
Me too. I just gotta make weight first.
First things first, baby steps, baby. All right, man. Listen, before we let you go, is there like anyone you want to give a shout out to, and tell us where we can watch your fight?
Yeah, man, you know, if people want to support me, Jose Shorty Torres on Instagram, and the link in my bio, I'm actually selling t-shirts right now. If people like Dragon Ball Z, it's a picture of myself going like Ultra Instinct Goku style. And it's with the Chicago colors, white, red, blue, white, baby blue, red. And man, 100% of the proceeds go to my foundation. And it'd be really helpful for a lot of guys. Go to the link in my bio, graphicsbar.com, and check them out, man. You know, again, it helps kids, teens, young adults, and just adults in general stay inside the gym and off the streets, especially for a lot of Chicagoans. Fighting's a poor man's sport. This is our way out. For me, this is my way out. And there's a lot of guys that I sponsor that this is their last hope. You know, their next fight, they need to win every fight coming up. You know, and you got kids who, you know, they just need positive male reinforcement. I'm not saying every person is going to be a professional fighter, but it's getting them off the streets, maybe saving their life one day. Maybe it's getting them out of trouble, keep them out of jail, or at least give them that positive reinforcement to go to college, do this and do that, or do something positive. And my foundation helps do that. So my Instagram, the link in my bio, that'd be dope, man.
That's amazing. We really appreciate what you do. We appreciate you, giving back to the community, because we've had several guests now at this point who do a lot in what they do. We had the CPD Knights baseball. We had the Chicago Blaze football coach. And these are all community leaders giving back to community.
Mike.
So Michael Kendall, Mikey O. So I mean, it's awesome to see Chicagoans taking care of Chicagoans. We appreciate you for doing what you do, man.
I appreciate it. And again, if people want to watch my fight, Fight TV, FITE.tv. It's either an app on your phone, on the TV, or just go on the website in general. I believe it's about $15 for the event. You always get to watch the event whenever you want, rewatch it, however many times.
That's a great deal.
Fingers crossed I win, represent Chicago. My brother will be in my corner as well. So
Beautiful.
Team Chicago is out there. And man, I appreciate the love and support. And that's why I say we can and we will together. We are Team Shorty. Thank you so much, guys.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, give a great round of applause to our guest today, Jose Shorty Torres. He's gonna be fighting Sean Santella in the rematch. Brave CF49 fight.tv.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Don't miss this one.
The True Chicago Sports Fans podcast will return after a brief word from our sponsor.
Hey, true Chicago sports fans, show off your Chicago pride with some fresh gear from Grit Clothing Company. At Grit Clothing, they create simple, classic clothing that represents their Southside Chicago lifestyle. With products like hats, t-shirts, hoodies, and glassware, Grit has everything you need to represent your Chicago pride. Check out gritclothingco.com and use the promo code TrueFan15 for 15% off of your entire order. That's gritclothingco.com and use our promo code TrueFan15.
Welcome back to the True Chicago Sports Fans podcast with E-Roc and Big-Z.
Yeah.
It's that time again, brother.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah. You know what time it is. It's time for stirring the pot.
Oh, man.
All right, brother. So it is time to stir the pot.
Yeah,
and
baby.
I got one for you. I got two of your favorites, brother.
I think this was the topic of a lot of controversy on Facebook this week, so I'm very interested.
Yeah. That's where I'm going. That's where I'm going. That's where I'm going, man. All right, brother. One's got to go. Donuts or bacon?
Come on, forever. Forever. All right, man. My answer to this is based on pure logic.
Mike Logic?
No, pure logic.
Oh.
The think.
That's another rapper?
The thinking, the thought process, and it's bacon. Bacon's got to go.
Why does bacon got to go?
Bacon's got to go for the reason that it's only one flavor.
It is not one flavor.
It's one flavor.
Yeah, maple bacon.
You're adding that to bacon.
But it's another flavor. So you got
you're adding
just like
that
donuts.
to bacon.
There's different flavor of donuts because you add stuff to them.
No, there's different types of donuts. There's different flavors of donuts.
Right, flavors. You just said it. Flavors, because you add stuff to it. Like we just had donuts today.
Okay, so you're talking about a plain donut? Right. No one eats plain. There's no, you know what I mean?
No,
like you're not.
There's no such thing as a plain donut.
Right.
No
So
one eats cake
that's my
donuts.
point. Is that you have cake donuts, you have the deep fried donuts or the air donuts or whatever.
Yeah.
There's just way too
More
many.
variety.
There's way more of a variety, and there's no. What did we have today? What did we have today?
That's because I love donuts.
Okay.
And I brought donuts from Liberation Donuts. Hey man, y'all need to sponsor us. I bought it was like a creme brulee pineapple donut, and the other one was like a cherry pie donut.
Yeah.
And the cherry pie was phenomenal.
It was really good.
And I was a big fan of the pineapple one. Shout out to Mike Logic. And but the cherry one was actually really, really good. So
and that was my argument, is that I was talking to one of my friends, and I says, I literally just had a gourmet donut. There ain't no such thing as gourmet bacon. I'm like, yes, there is. And I was like, nah, man, that's called pork belly.
I can go for some pork belly right now.
I have one, so.
Hey. So as much as I don't want to agree with you, I'm going with the donuts just because I love donuts.
Yes, because you have good taste buds and you're an intelligent person.
Well, I can add bacon to my donuts.
You can, and then you have a maple log.
Yes.
That's what those are called.
That's how it comes out.
But guess what? If there's no bacon and I can't have a maple log.
I finally kicked in. I got it.
It took a minute. But if I can't have that, there's literally 1,000 other donuts that I could have.
Exactly.
Especially with all these boutique gourmet donut shops you got around town now.
Right, we were talking to you, Liberation.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. All right, man. It's time to get out of here.
All right, y'all. That is it for today. Thank you so much for listening. A big thank you to our sponsors, 606 Media, Norris Caesar, and Grit Clothing Company. Don't forget to check out gritclothingco.com and use our promo code TrueFan15 for 15% off of your entire order. Huge shout out to this week's guest, back for his second show, our boy Jose Shorty Torres. Shorty will be fighting Sean Santella next week in the rematch at Braves CF49. Catch Shorty's fight on fight.tv on March 25th. Shout out to Ronesh and shout out to our super producer, Jay Soto.
Super duper.
Want to start a podcast or have your show sound as clean as ours? You can find everything you need at jsotomedia.com. Don't forget to check us out on social media. You can find us at True Shy Fans on Twitter. That's at True CHI Fans on Twitter and on TikTok. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, and reach out to us on our email. We want to hear from you. Reach us at truechicagosportsfans@gmail.com. All right, y'all. For Big Z, this is E-Roc. We'll see you next week for episode 37. Until then, be good to each other.
For the love of sports.
Yeah.
Get that pork belly really.
Ooh, baby, come and rub it.
Come and make it raw.
A few moments later.
You have a lot of incest.
That's real.
Shut your mouth. Lover boy.
Nature versus nurture, Lodge. Nature always wins.
I think he's on steroids.
Hasta luego, amigos.
Show's over, show's over, show's over.